All right. So today we're looking at measures of central tendency and spread. We're going to begin by looking at what takes place with ungrouped data first, and then we look at group data. So this video is about our ungrouped data. Now, when we're talking about measures of central tendency and spread, we are looking at the things like mean, median, and mode. Those are measures of central tendency, and measures of spread would be things like your quartiles. Now, we have some simple formulas that we will use to calculate these things. For some of these, we'll need to arrange them in numeric order or ascending order before we actually work them out. So the first one we want to look at is finding the mean, which is a very common thing. A lot of you guys would already know how to do. Basically, when we are calculating the mean, we're taking the sum of all the data values, the sum of all the observations, and then dividing it by the number of observations. So for example, if I need to find the mean of these numbers here, I have the numbers 4, 5, 8, 7, and 6. I will add 4, 5, 8, 7, and 6. That will give me 30. Divide that by the total number of numbers, which is 5. And my mean would be 6. Right? Pretty straightforward. Right? I have some questions here that you could try on your own. In the interest of time, I'm not going to stop for us to do this. This is pretty easy stuff. Secondly, we want to learn how to find the median. With ungrouped data, the median is the middle value when the data is arranged in either ascending or descending order. Now, the important thing to note is the number of observations or data values you have. If you have an odd number of data values, what you find would happen is that you will eventually get one number in the middle to represent a median. However, if the number of data values are even, then you will get two numbers in the middle. And what we do to find the median in such a case is find the average of those two numbers. So let me demonstrate this with an example. Example 2 here, we have an odd number of observations. If we check these observations here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 observations. That's an odd number of observations. Now, if we cross from n to n, what we would eventually end up with is the middle number, which in this case is not 6, but 9. Right? So 9 is our middle number. My bad. Error. What's the error? The error is that I started casting these without arranging them in order. Right? So you must arrange them in order first before you could calculate what your median is. If you did what I just did and just started crossing from here, you will not get the correct answer. So very important is that you must always arrange the observations, your data points, in order first before you can begin crossing values. Yeah? So once you arrange in order, then the next step we're going to do is we are going to cross from n to n. When we cross from n to n, we have a middle value here that is 6, so our median is 6. Now, with even numbers, we do the same thing. We have to order them first, 2, 4, 8, 10. But if I cross from n to n, I end up with 2 numbers in the middle. This will always happen if there's an even number of values that we are trying to find the median of. When that happens, we find the average of those two numbers. We add 4 and 8 together, and that will give us a total of 12, and 12 divided by 2 would give us 6. And that's how we find median for ungrouped data. Right? I have some practice questions here. You could try these on your own using the handle. Mode, finding the mode. Now, the mode is the most frequent value in the data set. It could be, in some instances, from the set of data, we could find one mode, or there are other cases where the answer might be multimodal, meaning that there's more than one mode. Sometimes there are no modes at all, right? So the mode basically tells us which data value appears most often, right? For this one, it's not necessary for us to arrange it in order because we could just look and eyeball and see which one of the values are appearing most frequently. In this case, we could clearly see that 3 appeared 3 times, making it the most often appeared observation. right? We have some practice questions that you could try here on your own time, and I'm moving forward. So now I want to talk a bit about quartiles and interquartile range. Now, quartiles divide the data into 4 equal parts. The median is actually the Q2, our middle quartile, where we divide in the entire data set straight down the middle into halves. Now, the lower quartile looks at the first quarter of your data, whereas your median looks at half, and your upper quartile, or your Q3, looks at 3/4 of the data. So if N is the total number of observations, then my lower quartile is always N over 4. My median is half, and my upper quartile is 3/4. Right? Now, the interquartile range, IQR, stands for interquartile range. Looks at the values in between your third, your upper quartile, and your lower quartile. So it looks at it looks at 50% of the data. If we were supposed to represent this on a little curve like this, and this is my Q1 values. So this is looking at 25% of the data here. The lower 25%. This is because this is my lower quartile. And on this side, we have Q3, which is another 25%, but it's the upper quartile, right? Because it's 3/4 of the data. This interquartile range that we're talking about here is the 50% in the middle, right? It's in between these two quartiles. It's the 50% that's in the middle. The semi-interquartile range is actually just half of your interquartile range. So once you calculate what this value is here, you could find a half of it, and that will give us our semi-interquartile range. Let's look at an example. Find Q1, Q2, Q3, the interquartile range, and the semi-interquartile range for the data. With ungrouped data, it's pretty easy to find these things because all we need to do is to arrange them in order. Now, this is already arranged in order, which works to our advantage. Our Q2, the median, is the middle values. Now, if we look at this, as I mentioned previously, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 values. So it means that if we cross from side to side, we're going to end up with 2 values in the middle. So we have to find the average of these two. So 8 plus 10 divided by 2, that's 18 over 2, gives us a median value of 9. The lower half, if we look at the lower half, if we divide this here, this is my lower half here. 3, 5, 7, 8. This is my lower half. And then I'm finding half of this, or I'm finding the median again in this lower half, which will leave 5 and 7 in the middle, giving me 12 over 2, which will give me 6. The upper half now, which is going to be looking at 10, 11, 12, and 15, right, 4 values. And we find Q3, we're going to get these two middle values here, 11 plus 12, which is going to give me what? 23, and that's 11.5. So my interquartile range will be the difference between the answer that I got for step 4 and step 3. My Q3 minus my Q1, 11.5 minus 6, which is going to give me 5.5. My semi-interquartile range should be found using half of the 5.5, which will give me 2.75. All right, everybody okay with that? Those are my values. So here's where we are going to do some practice. We are going to take these values here. I want you to, for each one, you need to arrange it in order. Arrange values in order. And then for each one of them, you're going to find a median, which is Q2. Then you're going to find the lower quartile. Q1, upper quartile, Q3, the interquartile range, which is your Q3 minus your Q1, and then last your semi-interquartile range, which is equal to half of the answer you got for interquartile range. Right? So remember, most importantly is you need to make sure that these are arranged in order first. This is your first term here. Right? This is the numbers of the question. Right? So make sure they're arranged. They seem to be arranged already. So you can begin by finding your median. Remember, your lower quartile is going to be half of the lower 50% of the values. Right? Upper quartile, half of the upper 25% of your values. And then the interquartile range is the difference between the two. Let's take a look at the solutions to this, right? So for each of these, you want to find the median, which is my Q2 value. We want to find the Q1 value, which is my lower quartile. We also want to find the upper quartile, my Q3 value. We want to find the interquartile range, and we want to find the semi-interquartile range. Right, so starting with number 1, I'll list out more data points or more values. It's already given to us in our ascending order, so that's one less step that we need. And we're doing end-to-end, crossing from end-to-end to get the median in the middle. Right? It's an even set of data, so our median is equal to 6 plus 8 over 2, which will be 7. Right? Our lower quartile Q1 will be, let's look at, we have to look at the, so there's, let's look at the number of values, right? Just to make this a little easy for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So 8 divided by 4, 2. Right? So this is where our lower quartile is going to be. Q1 is going to be equal to the second position. This is the second position, okay? Right? Because if we divide it into 4 equal parts, and we take the middle, we're going to get these two values here. Right? So we could do Q1 is going to be 4 plus 5 over 2. That's going to be 9 over 2, 4.5. Right? So again, it's 8 values in total. This is my middle part. This is my lower half. So the median of the lower half, this area here is where I'm going to get my Q1 value. So I have to add those two numbers together, and I get 4.5. Similarly, on this side, this is my upper half. So I'm going to get these two in the middle here. So my upper quartile Q3 is going to be 10 plus 12 over 2. That's 22 over 2, which is 11. My interquartile range is found by taking my Q3 value and minusing my Q1 value from it. So 11 minus 4.5, that's going to give me what? 6.5. Yeah. And then my semi interquartile range is going to be half of 6.5. That's going to give me 3.25. That's what number 1 is going to look like. Yeah? Just give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that. Lovely. Let's look at number 2. So first one we want to find is the median. It's already arranged in ascending order, crossing from end to end. This is my Q2 value here. Right, so median is equal to 7. This is my lower half. Right, so my Q1 value here is going to be 3. My Q3 value here is going to be 11. And my interquartile range will be Q3 minus Q1. We're going to get 11, take away 3. That's going to give me 8. Semi-interquartile range, half 8, 4. Yeah? So this was number 2. Number 3, we have 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 15, 18. From a median, yeah, go ahead.
Number 2.
Which question? 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, number 2, where the first quarter, how is it 3?
And this one, where we're going to find Q1. So it
No,
depends on the number of data points, right? So if we have an even number of data points, remember it'll be the sum of 2. If we have an odd number of data points, then it'll be a single point. Understand?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So here we have an even number of points. So look at this. If we do the median and we cross from end to end, we end up with 2 values in the middle. So my median will have to be a 10 plus 12 over 2, which will give me 22 over 2 to give my 11. Now, when I'm doing my lower quartile, my lower quartile will be looking at 4 values here. Upper quartile will be looking at these 4 values here. In this previous one, if this is more midpoint here, right, then you just have 3 on this side and 3 on this side. This is why the Q1 would have been 3 and the Q3 would have been 11. Understand the difference between the two? So with the even set of data, this here is going to be my average of Q1. This here is going to be my average of Q3. And This here is going to be my Q. Average is going to give me my Q. So it depends on the number of data points, right? So we're going to get here for Q1, 7 plus 8 over 2. So that's 15 over 2, 7.5. And Q3 is going to be, what's this here? 13 plus 15 over 2. That's 28 over 2. You're going to get 14. All right. So our interquartile range now is going to be Q3 minus Q1, 14 minus 7.5. And now give us 6.5. My semi-interquartile range will be half of 6.5, and that's going to give me 3.25. And that's what it's going to look like. Everybody clear on that?